ladies, gentlemen, children of all sizes and ages, welcome back to Cone Racing League. It is Season 12, Round 3 kicking off here tonight. And, well, there's a little bit of different screen than you're used to seeing us start off with. That's because we've got a little bit of a different format tonight. It is the first of the back-to-back double headers. One-shot quali, 20 laps round Bahrain, and then one-shot quali and some amount of laps round Qatar. It's a 35% race. So it's going to be very action-packed night tonight, so we've started off this comms a little bit early so I can get the exposition out of the way. Thankfully, though, I'm not going to be doing it myself. Once again, joining me back, it's the man. He's not from Japan, he's from the east coast of Scotland, but it is Jack Glowstick. How are you doing tonight, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing alright.
I'm assuming that was hello in Bahrainian or something.
I don't know. Something the kids are into nowadays, but...
I mean, I'm nearly 30, mate. I'm not going to pretend I know.
Yeah, I don't understand it. But, yeah, I'm doing alright. How are you, Scott?
Can't complain, mate. It's another Monday by with another race day here in Cone, and we're going to kick off the week in style here at Bahrain. Of course, last time out was the Azerbaijan Grand Prix round Baku. I never checked the damage settings this week. Let's hope us get it right this time. But anyway, we had the Baku Grand Prix. Danjo win it ahead of his brother Diddy, King 5 Panda, rounding off that podium. Little One, KXI, It's Jamie Cavalis, Co-Paradox, Tobes, Azen, Weban, DC, Agasta, Eli Klapper, and Wes RS was the only retirement from that race. Fastest lap did go to Little One, bonus point for him. So, looking at the championship standings then, we're only 2 rounds in, but it's getting spicy at the top. Danjo on 50 points, Little One and Diddy both on 48. King 5 Panda a little behind on 32, and then we've got that big mid-pack. I'm not going to run through everybody and their points total. It's too early in the season of that. But shaping up for a good season, Jack, and with a very quick-fire race tonight, I expect much more of the same.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 entertaining races, I reckon. Both pretty good race tracks and just fun, in my opinion. Bahrain can be a little bit sweaty since it is always the first race of most things, but this week it's the 3rd race, so should be fun to watch. In Qatar, fast. We should see cars going wide, getting penalties. Hopefully not, though, because we don't want penalties ruining races.
They could do it, and of course with qualifying, no 18-minute session tonight, folks. It's 2 one-shots, one for each of the races, and then we'll be pretty much straight in. So one little slip of the track limits. You haven't got another lap to go, and that is you. You are starting down at the back. Now, I've not got a clue who we're going to watch here tonight. I think we might go with Danjo, of course, won last week, put on pole. The plan is then, of course, to follow basically whoever gets pole in this session in the next qualifying session. So I'm going to try and jump on board. That's Cavalis. Oh, we've went into his profile. Oh, we're having a nightmare here. We're going to try and get on board then with one of our suspected front runners. I'm trying to take control of his car. That's not exactly what we want. Anyway, on board then with Danjo. He is provisionally at the front, coming into turn number 4, of course. End of the first sector here. 28.365, purple first sector. That gives us a good indication, as well as that big board on the left-hand side, that he is out front. Through 6, 7, and then the hairpin of 8. And this is where the track can get tricky for some drivers. You've got the downhill left of 9 into the heavy braking zone of 10. Could see some very audacious moves in the race down there. Fingers crossed for that. Second DRS on the track then. The first, of course, being on the exit of turn 3 up to 4. And the third, of course, being on the start-finish line. Turn 11, a long sweeping left into a long sweeping right of 12 into the end of the second sector. And a slightly sharper right-hander. Tobzo currently leading the way. Diddy in second, Danjo in third, Little One in fourth, Panda in fifth. It's the same front runners what we were kind of expecting. Danjo, though, could be an indication of setup or maybe just deploy of that ERS. Sneaks ahead as they round the final 2 corners. Yes, there is 2 corners there, believe it or not. Up to the line then, very quick session for qualifying, and it's going to be Diddy, the brother, on pole. 7 thousandths, I think, was the difference between 1 and 2 there, Jack. It was very quick run down the order. We'll get through the full results very soon, but that's qualifying done, folks. Nice and easy tonight.
Close, very close at the front there. Top 3 separated by 10th almost. Well, but yeah, pretty much. Just a little bit less.
7,000 separating Diddy from Tobes. Danjo then 700s, well, just under 800s behind, then almost a quarter second to P4 Little One. King 5 Panda, DC, Aizen, Cavalis, Cole Paradox and Clupper rounding off that top 10. It's Jamie in 11th, Caelan Bartlett in 12th, Harry Palmer in 13th, Wiban, Agast Oily and Curly all getting at lap times in. AFL DNFing, I'm assuming a mistake and just retiring on track, and Baldy Bob, who you will know as CRL Spider in former years, DSQing, so that was a track limit violation. But that's the first part of the evening done. That's 1/4 of the entertainment gone by, you could almost say. We now have the first of the two 35% races. Now, Bahrain, 20 laps. Normally, Jack, this track is very, very aggressive in tyre wear. Sometimes you see the two-stop work. Of course, we're going to have scaled tyre wear, I suppose. So the tyres will still wear that little bit. And I suppose it'll be a bold choice of, is the soft medium going to work? How long are you going to take the softs? Are you going to leave the softs to the end? Safety cars are still a thing. Could we see somebody just run the hards and just say, you know what, we're going to take this as long as we can and go for there, maybe a late safety car jump on the softs? You could almost argue it's a shorter race, there's less strategy, but in a shorter race, there's also more strategy. I know that sounds very conflicting and just makes me sound like an idiot, but you know what I mean, Jack?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because it's going to be more, people are going to make more moves, it's going to be more trying to, because it is a shorter distance compared to what we're used to running, it's going to be more chaotic and more people fighting, hopefully, that's what we're hoping for anyway. But we should maybe see, like, I reckon hard softs maybe, but you want to get the grippier compound first, because it's going to be less grippy at the start of a race. So you're going to be like maybe softs first, and then hards or mediums.
Well, we're just getting our answer here. All three tyre compounds on show then. Pole sitter Diddy opting for that red striped soft. Tobes down to P5, King 5 Panda opting for the mediums. DC, Cavalis, Caelan Bartlett and Agast Alloy opting to join the pole sitter. And then two outliers at the back. Baldy Bob starting in P18 right at the back of the grid, going for the long run on the hard, as well as CRL Wuban in P14. So all three tyres on display here. I'm really going to be interested to see DC and Cavalis at the start. DC is getting back into a bit of form, he's getting back into the racing, and his pace is going to improve week on week, I'm hoping to see. He is, of course, not Ginger. We'd just like to clarify that. Jack got that wrong. But it'll be good to see where his pace goes over the season, and can he maybe get in the mix with King 5 Panda and Little One on the start here. Cavalis, again, a driver you can never discount. Always in that midfield mix here in Tier 2 or Tier 4, Tier 3, wherever he's raced in the pack. He's never been one to just sit at the back. He always likes to get involved. Can be a race, and he's my teammate last season, and let's just say he never got out of the way for me. He was always up for a fight, so hopefully we see some of that tonight. Caelan Bartlett, need I say any more? He will be gunning for it on the softs. And Agast Ally, the new guy, had a little bit of disconnection issues last week, so hopefully we see a bit more of him tonight. The midfield runners on the or the mid-pack runners, I suppose you call them, on the mediums, yeah, they're going to be very, very much of a benchmark. And Baldy Bob, aka Rob, just going to try and hold in there. Wait until those hards come in, maybe a late safety car, just try and get some track position and go. Wiban will be doing the same, so a nice little mix of strategies. And shout out to all the Tier 1 boys that are maybe watching in here tonight and maybe seeing what works and what doesn't, because, well, I don't know about you, Jack, I'm definitely keeping an eye on to see who has the best strategy. And we'll find out in 20 laps, I suppose, folks. Stick with us, you don't want to miss it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. Looking out for strategy, but yeah, I can't believe I said DC was Ginger. He's been my team. He was my teammate once in the same car, Mercedes. So my apologies, but we're about to get under racing very soon.
Absolutely. Of course, CRL would just like to clarify there was nothing wrong with being ginger. We have no discrimination against ginger people at all. But you join us in for the Bahrain International Circuit for round number 3 of CRL Season 12 here in Tier 2. Held 21 times in the past, first on the calendar in 2004. It's going to be 5 red lights ahead of the 3.3 mile circuit. Lights out, and away we go in the desert of Bahrain. Aston Martin of King 5 Panda pulling off to the right, getting a very slow start. Aizen jumping the gun very nicely, falling back down again. But Diddy retaining the lead into turn 1. Danjo holding P2. Tobes in P3, but under a little bit of threat from Little One. They're squabbling at the back, but I think, Jack, we're all through turn 1, 2 and 3 in one piece. Cavolis and Clipper back at it again. We've seen a lot of action from them this time last season, and Clipper deciding to take the fence into attack, trying to make a move on Aizen. Little bit of wheel bang in there, but overall, Jack, a pretty clean nose. Harry Palmer almost makes me eat my words. A pretty clean start to the race here.
Yeah, pretty clean. I did see a little bit of tapping going through the first couple corners, but that's alright. We're still pretty clean, no damage from what I can see. Diddy, he got a fantastic start on them softs, using obviously grippier tyres compared to the people around him. And DC as well, he was up to 4th initially off the start, but unfortunately he dropped down through the first corner.
It can be a tricky traction zone, of course, that out of turn 1, 2 and 3. Of course, out of 10 catches some people out as well, so there is these little tricky parts of the circuit where we might see drivers slip up, and DC maybe just not quite catching the grip on turn 1, or lap 1, sorry, early stages. Not Kalen, sorry, Clapper and Harry swapping places through the final couple of corners there. Harry up into P9 for the McLarens, and Kalen having a little look down at the inside on Clapper. Clapper trying to hang it around a little bit later on the braking. Up front, Cavolis and Aizen swapping back and forth, and Clapper getting the better grip on exit of 2. Kalen almost dropping the car. I don't know if Agas Stoily get caught up in behind. I'm going to quickly jump up to the front of the field because Tobes and Little One swapping positions, and I think AFL has went for a spin there, Jack. I don't know if there's any damage to the car, but we're already seeing little packs form. Diddy on the softs, clearing the pack nice and early, and then a little DRS train, of course, enabled from this lap. The first dose up to turn 3 there, and that train going to go from P2 down to P6. The little front runners. Cabolos, though, almost in range. He needs to get in quick to tie along and try and charge along with the front runners, but is Little One going to be in a position to make a move on Danjo? Tobes behind lurking. This is shaping up to be a nice little battle. Diddy, though, has got to play the tyre game. This could work out really well for him in the early stages, but a bit like the Saudi Grand Prix we've seen at the weekend there, the tyre offsets can make a huge difference, Jack.
Yeah, and that's Harry Palmer making a move for P8 there against Aizen. Good move from him. But yeah, at the moment, Diddy just needs to keep managing the tyres a little bit and keep building the gap up front as he sets the fastest lap currently, as Little One is maybe looking for a move, but so is Tobes and Panda.
Panda diving down the inside into turn 1. EA fixes camera angles, they're not the best at showing us. Tobes, though, on the outer line, getting that better grip and just getting the car away clean. Yellow flags behind there is, I believe that's Cold Paradox, well off track. Let's see if we can get an idea. I don't know if that was just maybe deep under braking and going well off. I think his teammate as well, the Sauber of Curly, also taking a little off-track excursion. So drama into turn 1 on lap 3 as Little One gets past Danjo, carving through this field, and maybe just thinking, if I can get some clear air, I can start the hunt down the guys in front. Little incident in the mid-pack there, though, Jack. I think Clapper having a little bit of a time of it.
Yeah, and I think Cold Paradox has just basically done the same thing, where I think you go wide a little bit and that curb kind of spits you out into a wall. But luckily Clothier didn't find the wall, and neither did Cold Paradox. So at the moment, it's all clean, no one's in a wall. So yeah, it's just good racing at the front so far, and the middle as well. So good racing all round.
Good to see. Of course, a track like this, there is a variety of corner types, variety of traction zones, and 3 DRS straights. You're always going to get that little bit of back and forth. It's a nice wide track. It's a purpose-built track. We're going to see some battles, and I talked about the guy having the battle his way up into the DRS. He is well and truly in it in those softs. Cavolis trying to make the move down the inside into turn 1 of DC, and in fact, he isn't just going to make it, he's going to stick it up into P6, and maybe, just maybe, thinks, I'm going to take these battles to the guys in front. Danjo, though, looking for P2, taking it back into turn number 4. Little One, though, doing his best to hold out. You see the car starting to drift a little bit there. That is one of those traction zones I was on about, and thankfully everybody keeping it in a straight line. And as I say that, AFL has had an excursion on the exit of turn number 3, but I suppose it is the one benefit about here, Jack. There is tricky traction zones, but there's a bit of runoff with the walls and that. You've got a little bit of give and take with it.
Yeah, that is true. There is a bit of runoff, but sometimes you're going pretty quick for these corners, so sometimes you can't really save it. But yeah, there's plenty of runoff. And speaking about one of them corners, Cole Paradox in a wall, and that brings out a safety car.
Cole Paradox, an old hand in the league, of course, been around since I believe the very first season, having a little bit of a spin out of turn number 8. Maybe just struggling with the setup, maybe just with the different format. Of course, these drivers are having to essentially practice for 2 circuits tonight and just out of the groove. Safety car though on lap number 4. What is our leader going to do? Is he going to pit? Yes, he does. I would expect Hards will be on that racing bull until the end. And in fact, the medium runners also jumping in. Nobody gambling, staying out. Surprises me slightly. I thought one of these guys might have just rolled the dice, and it is going to be one of them. It is going to be Wiban on the hards. Makes sense, of course. The mediums are going to struggle to do the 15 laps, so Wiban is going to be our de facto race leader. CRL Rob, or Spider, or Baldy Bob, if he can get his toe down, could come out in P2, and this could be crucial to some of the guys' race. This could really, really help Diddy here. He's managed to jump the Haas in the pit stop, and now has got a de facto I won't mind me saying this, he's on older hards. He was at the back. He's maybe one of the slower guys in the grid, getting back into the game. That could be huge for Diddy, and just pulling out that gap again, because the tyre advantage he had in the first couple of laps with the softs isn't there anymore. Curiously though, DC off the softs onto the mediums, and Caelan Bartlett also doing the same. Bold call for the two of them, but we'll see how it plans out.
It could work if they're maybe gambling for another safety car, where they could be quick. They could go for be quicker and hope for a safety car towards the end. But if there is no safety car, they're going to have to manage the tyres pretty well. But I reckon from this point onwards, mediums could last if you're very... if you're like a tyre whisperer, for example, you could make them last. But it's going to be awfully difficult, and you might have very low grip if no grip at all.
Bambi on ice springs to mind for the last few laps. Of course, like you say, safety car could come out, and setup and driving style also plays a huge impact into the tyre wear. 17 cars still on track, lap 5 of 20 about to end here, and it's the Ferrari of Wiban. Started on the hards, has run the hards the whole race so far. Of course, it's not been much of a race so far in terms of distance. So the pace difference in those tyres compared to, say, Diddy, Danjo, Little One and Co isn't going to be massive. And then, like you say, DC and Caelan, the Mercedes strategies, maybe the big brain strategy going to come through here. If there is a late safety car, they can use these tyres, get that track position, jump onto the softs later on, or maybe even another set of mediums. Of course, no qualifying, all these drivers are going to have plenty of softs. If they went for the balanced setup, they're also going to have 2 sets of mediums, so maybe they're looking at that. It gives them that little bit of flexibility without... you're risking it, I suppose, in a sense, but it's worth a gamble sometimes, Jack. Big shout out, by the way, Strauss. I'm not even going to try and say that in either Dutch or Italian, but greetings from Italy. I hope you're enjoying your holiday, my friend, and we'll hope to see you back on the grid next week. Cole Paradox. Yeah, mate, unlucky. It is a tricky track at times with the traction zones, particularly in the most recent games I've found. But glad to see that you decided, instead of racing, you'd rather just watch the stream with. So you'll be back, Qatar next. I think it'll maybe suit your driving style a little bit. I'm hoping. It'd be nice to see you up there, Mick. Not that I'm discrediting any of the drivers, of course. I'd love to see everybody up there winning. What's going on with Clorley and Klapper? Bit of position swap and a bit of... and Carly, a 10-second penalty with the car behind.
I didn't see that, actually, so that is very interesting. Did Agos get a penalty for that as well? No, he just got a penalty for track extending. So that is very interesting stuff.
I wonder, that's coming into turn 8, whether there was just a little bit of a concertina effect and some of the cars behind coming in a bit hot and just little touch. That might be reviewed by the stewards if Curly chooses to report it. Of course, if Curly is listening, or any driver, of course, any track limits, anything like that, submit it in, race director, we can have a look at it, and if it is an unfair penalty. I've just had a question from Josh Evans. Him and his missus are asking if Among Us is a possibility after the race. I've never had a comment like, sure, why not? Put a ping out, Josh. Batter on and yeah. Anyway, back to what matters. Never mind Among Us. Wuban is going to take us through this restart here, Jack, and I'm going to hand it over to you because I like to share the responsibility. Take us through the restart, my friend.
Well, Wuban is taking it very late. He's taking it to the line. He's going to bunch everyone up, and he's gone. He's caught everyone off, I think. But they're catching up, and Little One's already making a move on Danjo. And I think he's going to try and make a move on Baldy Bob, and he has. But Rob's fighting it back, and he's being hit by a little bit, but I think that's just a bit of racing contact, nothing really to do. And
a big one though, Wuban, yeah, I was just about to say, I think he lost it on the exit of turn 3. I didn't quite see it myself, but off in towards the runoff area. Look at this midfield battle though. DC, Harry Palmer, Cavolis, Baldy Bob, Caleb Bartlett, they're all they're all eager and racing. What? That's an upper send from, I think, the Alpine of Club PR, who gets a little bit loosey-goosey on the exit. This is mental. I love it. Can we do 35% races every week? So where is the Haas going of Baldy Bob? That's a little bit of a run-off. Front wing damage, so it is going to be a pit stop for him. I think they've sorted themselves out in a little bit of an order, but that was like a... Jack, you might be the only one that really gets this thing, but you know, at a wedding they have a scramble where they chuck the money and the kids go absolutely nuts trying to grab every 2 pence and 5 pence coin they get. It was like that. They were just all saying, I'll have a piece of this, give me some of this money. And Jamie and Cavolis still going at it. Cavolis so losing out a little bit under this restart. Was right up there with DC and co. Harry Palmer's jumped up as Jamie takes a little bit of excursion, and this is going to invite pressure from, and it's not AFL, it's Kaelin Bartlett up into P8 on the mediums, although maybe battery, yeah, I'm not going to comment on drivers' battery in case they are listening. I don't want to give an unfair advantage to anybody who might be doing so, but battery could be key in this race here, and maybe setups. But we're spacing out now, Jack. What are you seeing?
Cavolis has lost his end plate, unfortunately, front right end plate, so he'll be losing downforce for that. I thought going into the final corner I saw a bit of front wing flying off. That might be his, or it might be someone else's. I'm not too sure. As Tobes and Harry Palmer, what a fight these guys are having, as Harry Palmer steams around the outside. What a lovely move from Harry Palmer. And AFL as well, he's doing good compared to his first laps. He's doing in 11th. But Harry Palmer, he started in 13th and is now up to 6th. So Harry Palmer is a bit on a drive at the moment. He's doing really well.
He certainly is. Up 7 positions is Harry Palmer. AFL up 6 and Kaelin Bartlett up 4. Curly up 3 as well. Biggest loser then looks to be Cluppier, Eason and Tobes down 6, 5, 5 respectively. Big shout out to Laura. Thank you for the feedback there. Jack's mic sounding a lot better this week. There was maybe, I do apologise, maybe some audio balancing issues and some audio quality issues last week, but Jack coming through is nice and clear. Cavolis into the pits then was in a great position, but let's jump away from that because Diddy and Little One almost caught me out there. They were going side by side through turn 1, turn 2 and now turn 3. Little One ahead of Diddy as more swatting down at the back of the field as a Ferrari off in the background there looked to be Wuban. Diddy almost turning in or driving into the rear of Little One through turn number 4 as they go through the sweeping of 5, 6, 7 down to the hairpin of 8. As a move lurking here. Nah, he's going to be clever, he's going to be smart, and he's going to wait for that DRS. King 5 Panda and Danjo though lurking in the background. And let's not discount DC, Jack. 2.5 seconds behind, yes, that's fair enough. I think Dandruff had a slight Jamie Morris in the house, slight moment. But DC on the mediums could pull that gap in. King 5 Panda, though, looking closer to attacking Diddy than Diddy was to Little One, and that was with DRS for Diddy. That could tell a story about setups, could it not?
Yeah, it could. I think it's definitely going to be a mix of, do you run lower wings than someone or higher wings? Because it is a difficult track, as you were saying, with traction. And I think it is quite... Is it high downforce, or is it like... Because I can't remember with if it's higher downforce, or if that was just at the beginning of the game, when you use higher wings.
I know, I could be wrong, but I think it was last game anyway, as Diddy goes down the inside of Little One using that assist of DRS, keeping it nice and clean, and Little One is going to hold on the inside of 2, potentially lose it out, up the run to 4. King 5 Panda, there's half a gap there, mate, and I respect you for not sticking it in there as a steward. You could have flung it up the middle there, but back to what we're saying, Jack. I think the wings were in the 30s sort of area, if I remember right. So it is decently high downforce. I suppose it's a bit like Baku last week. You know, I think the standard in Tier 1 was sort of low 20s, high teens to mid 20s. I do know that P2 Sahailu was running 4-1 wings around Baku, which is fair play to him. So there is never, it's a bit like a Rubik's Cube, there's never one clear answer. You can solve it in any way you want. Wuban, I think, having a minor spin where we see Mick, aka Cole Paradox, having one earlier on in the race, but keeping it going. And this battle for the top four, quickly turning into a top 3. Danjo just struggling to hang in there. 1.1 seconds the gap, but he might just get it down. He has to get it down before the final turn, because the DRS, as we've seen all season, we've seen in real life, you've watched F1, you know how powerful that DRS is, Jack.
Yeah, very quick. I think I remember it saying it gives you 18 kilometers per hour extra power, and thinking about that extra power, Diddy takes the lead, but King 5 Panda going around the outside of Little One as well, so Little One losing 2 positions there, and DC and Harry Palmer, having a little bit of contact there, I think, going through turn 1. Now has to defend from Kalen, who is going to make a move. Will he make it down the inside of turn 4? Has he got it done? Will Harry swing around the outside and keep the move? I think he's kept it, but it's going to be close coming through turn 5, and Harry keeps it. Good defence from Harry there.
Change days for Harry Palmer. Once a bit of a scoundrel, you could say, on track, sending it every way and reporting everything that is nothing. Pulling off some clean overtakes tonight. Little bit of contact here and there, but rubbing is racing, as they say. Panda, Chris Panda, Serial Panda in the comments. So 35% tonight is because we are bringing you 2 races here this evening. It's essentially, we're running the season over, I think it's 8 weeks, 10 weeks. I should know, it's 8 weeks, sorry. But there is extra rounds because we're doing 2 back-to-back. So 1 shot quali, 35%, then we'll go into another 1 shot quali, and 35% for the Qatar Grand Prix. So that answers that question, and hopefully it makes sense. Danjo, though, clean into the DRS of the top 3. Then we've got a 4-way fight as it stands for the lead, and DC, I was talking about, could maybe make some inroads with those mediums. That battling with Harry, and maybe just the lack of DRS, that gap was from 2.3 to 4.3, so it is looking very much like a 4-way battle for the lead. Little One and Diddy side by side through turn 1. Little One getting a little bit of a switchback here, though, on the exit of 2. Is going to get side by side on the run up to hill, through 3 and up to 4, but Diddy just holding in front, almost getting pushed around the corner. Danjo, he's at the back of the DRS train. He's chill. He's just being a chill little guy, waiting for his chance to appear. But these 3 in front been doing some pretty good squabbling, some pretty good battling, and hope to see it continue. Jamie then continuing his form from last week. Jack currently on the back of Kalen and DC. Harry also getting a move done on DC at the early part of this Grand Prix. So we've got 2 little 4-way battles, which is it's nice to see. It's better than when it's just 1 and 2 drivers swapping back and forward. There's a bit of a scrap, although Kalen has lost touch to the rear of his teammate. I wonder if he's starting to struggle on those mediums ever so slightly. Time will tell. Baldy Bob in the pit saying, currently in P17 will come out. Just one thing, Jack, and you might know this, I should probably know this, I'm assuming it's the same points for the top 12 tonight. It's just a standard race point, just a different format.
I'm going to assume so. But speaking about the tyres, I thought the mediums would have been staying, well, they are kind of staying, but I thought they would have been quite decent. I thought they wouldn't have been losing grip by now. Maybe I overthought it, but honestly I thought the mediums would have been doing a little bit better and not lose grip as quickly. So that's a bit surprising to me, but that's something for us to keep in mind for Thursday. Advantages as DC overtakes Harry Palmer, but Harry Palmer fighting it again.
Nice battling from Harry tonight, it must be said. He's positioning the car well, he's not really caused any drama, and he's built off quite a few silky moves, you could almost say, around the outside. I wonder though, Jack, I'm thinking back to the previous races by Bahrain now. If I remember rightly, you normally take the mediums roughly into the teens in the way of laps, maybe 12 to 15 as a ballpark figure. Of course, the game's going to recalculate the scaling of the tyre wear based on the 35% from the 50%. Sorry, so maybe they are just going to die off around about that 10 laps in. Although I do distinctly remember doing a 35% in something. It might have been the Cone Cup one time. And 8 laps on the softs and 12 on the medium was pretty doable. So we could see Diddy though getting the move on King 5 Panda, that was, but it's going to leave him vulnerable. No DRS, and well, the Sharks are here, and they're here to take your position, Diddy, I hate to tell you. Down from first to P4, that just shows you the power of DRS, eh?
Yeah, I am very surprised. Like, Little One is a very lucky guy there, as Jamie, a little bit of contact there with DC, nothing too bad though. But Little One's quite a lucky boy, since he actually hit the back of Panda there going into the final 2 corners. So rear-ending him. Very, very lucky not to get any damage. So he lives to keep fighting for this lead. But yeah, Diddy from P1 to P4, 1 corner, as you were saying, just shows how effective and powerful the DRS is and can be.
Absolutely. Rear-ending there, folks, that's the new official term for it. That is the technical term used by all F1 teams. You heard it here first. But yeah, Diddy losing out massively with that DRS, and it is always that position. We've seen it in tier 1 and first day, of course, with Bosch Evans in the final lap, just positioning with the DRS and getting it at the right time and the wrong time, and just that little bit of a game. Maybe this is part of the game from Diddy though. Get behind, save some tyre wear, save some ERS, and then you've got that in your tank for the last few laps. Saying that though, he's very close to the rear of the Alpine of Little One as they come across the line, and we head on to lap 15 of 20. Panda then losing out to Danjo. Then he just has to settle in behind. Little bit of ghosting there, is that from Panda? Almost a collision from Diddy. Has to lift off just to avoid understeering into the Alpine of Little One. Danjo then pulling out a bit of a gap just with that squabbling, but DRS is going to take that away. Jamie has got ahead of Harry, Kaelin and DC, and Harry saying, I'm not going to give you this one easy. Tries to go down the inside into turn number 4. Jamie, a little bit of a switchback, but it's never going to pull off for him. Let's give some love then. Curly and Aghast Alloy. Apologies to some of the back markers this race. There's been that much action at the front, Jack. We haven't really had much time to cover some of them. Curly battling it with Aghast Alloy for P11 at the moment. Of course, 11 and 12 would be the final points paying positions. Wiban on the rear of AFL. There was a couple of tins between them there. Gap stretched out a little bit. We'll maybe swing back to this in the coming laps, or we'll stick on board actually. Let's see if Wiban can get the move on AFL with the DRS here, as Jamie and Harry, I think, doing pretty much what I'm expecting to see from the Ferrari here. ERS, DRS and sling on by. Wiban not going to get the move done this time, but we'll we'll keep an eye on the deltas, we'll keep an eye on the gaps, and we'll maybe swing back and try and give love to all the field as we start lap 16, Jack. And it's a bit of deja vu. I've seen these 4 go up the line in this order a few times tonight.
Yeah, it's a bit of deja vu at this point, as I thought there was going to be contact there. Luckily, there isn't. About last lap, why Panda was ghosting as Harry Palmer gets back past Jamie. Jamie, by the way, sweeping around the outside of Harry on turn 12. So that was a lovely move from him. But yeah, the reason why Panda, he was ghosting, was I think Little One had a little touch of his rear left tyre, and I think that sent him into a spin, which caused him to ghost a little bit. But at the moment, it remains the same. No moves being made, apart from, as I was saying, Harry. And Wuban finally getting past AFL into turn 4.
A little bit disappointed. I missed that move. I was hoping to catch him. A bit like Jamie tries to do, try and give the camera, try and give the love a roundabout, but it's hard at times when you've got a battle this intense up the front. I mean, I'd love to be watching the battle from 58th as closely as well, so it's stop racing so good, guys. You're giving us too much to watch and we can't catch everything. Said no commentator ever. It's a bad issue to have. Jamie getting very close through those 11s and 12s, like you said earlier on. Maybe just gain a sign of the setup, or maybe just really, really feeling the car through there. We'll jump back to them on the run down to turn 1, because I think King 5 Panda is going to make the move on Danjo. He goes back into the lead of this Grand Prix. Danjo, they're going to try and hold it around the outside potentially. I was a bit worried there just how much he was getting on the curb. Was there going to be a braking issue, maybe struggle? Jamie gets the move done clear. There's not even going to be a fight into turn 1 or 2. Little One, though, is going to give us a fight, and he's going to try and get the move on Danjo, who could fall from P1 to P3 here, side by side through turn number 4. And this is where it could get tricky. Through this little twisty section of 5, 6 and 7. Little touches of contact. Nothing major, no damage. And potential for Panda to break that DRS. I think he's just going to fail to do so there, but heart and mouth moment for a few drivers there.
Yes, Little One sticking to his guns, like going for turn 5, 6 and 7. Good move, as there is a spinner of Toby. He's in the wall and there's a safety car.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you thought this 4-way battle at the front was exciting, wait till the... Well, I'm not going to say it's guaranteed, because remember, the safety, we have to do 2 laps of racing, I'm right in saying, Jack, so the safety car is going to do 1 lap, which will be lap 18 once they cross the line, and then it will be 2 laps of green flag racing. Who is going to gamble it for a set of softs? Track position could be key, but with 12-lap-old mediums in the form of Kalen and DC, and 12-lap-old hards in the form of pretty much everybody else, it could be a gamble to stay out. And Danjo is taking the gamble. Diddy is taking the gamble, opting for track position. This will work if enough cars stay out and put that gap to their competitors. Jamie is going to do so. Harry Palmer is doing so. Kalen Bartlett on the mediums is going to do so. They are going to be pretty ropey at this stage, but maybe just thinking the time lost in the pits is going to be greater than the time lost by having absolutely dodgy tyres. Aizen also staying out, but Little One, King 5 Panda, Real DC, Curly, Tobes all into the pit, AFL and I imagine Wuban as well. Cavalis, Clipper will probably stay out. Well, they'll have to stay out realistically. They need to get a toe down here, Jack, to catch up that safety car queue, because it's got half a lap to go and we're going to be green flag racing regardless, as long as the game mechanics haven't changed in the last year.
Yeah, and just saying, by the way, Wuban had to pit, because Wuban had been running them hards all the race so far, so he had to pit at some point. Why not pit right now, when there's a free pit stop, basically? But they're going to have to absolutely pedal to the metal to catch up to the safety car, and it should be in this lap, I think, as you were saying. I think some people are unfortunately not going to be able to catch up.
I think Tobes and Curly will catch up. The pack behind, oh, you know, it might even be tight for Tobes and Curly, you know. I think Clipper and Baldy Bob are pretty much out of it. They're going to struggle to get through essentially further the lap. It depends how slow Danjo goes with the restart, though, of course. Tobes says, you can see that little blue dot plummeting through turn number 11. He is putting the foot down here, desperately trying to catch up. He might just make it, you know. Curly might just make it as well. I think everybody from P13 down is going to struggle.
Toby.
Pushing so hard, like I just said there, picking up a 3-second time penalty for his worries. On the restart then, Danjo is going to take it, and he's taking it a lot quicker and a lot earlier than Wuban did the last one. So Tobes and Curly not making it up with the pack. We essentially have a 10-car battle here for the final lap. Jamie losing a position, to Harry Palmer. Little one, I don't know if there was contact there, or just about caught it. Was trying to make a move there, down to P8 now with a half spin. King Fly Panda getting past his teammate. Is there a bit of team orders here? I think by the looks of it, there was this DC and Aghast ally battle out in the background here, Jack. We're going to have 2 laps of intense racing, so if you see anything out of this world, just you shout in. Little one getting ahead of Aizen then, and him and himself and King Fly Panda really going to have to put the toe down here to try and make up moves. DC will also be looking at, of course, the third runner on the softs. And the question is, how, for Diddy and Janjo, how big of a defence can Harry Palmer and Jamie put up? We will have DRS in the last lap, of course, so that could make things ever more interesting. And Panda is going to have a run on Jamie into turn number 11. The RB probably doing everything he can for his own race, and maybe thinking of his teammate here. We've seen him very quick and very technical through this section so far, battling with Harry. But the superior soft grip really putting a number on him. And crucially, Panda and Little One still in the DRS here, Jack.
Yeah, and they're in the DRS going into the final lap now. But so is Diddy on his brother, Danjo. How will this play out? As Panda is already making a move on Harry. He's up to third now in the podium positions. But Diddy, does he go for a move down the inside? No, he doesn't. He thinks better of it. And so does Little One. He makes a move on Harry. He's now up to 4. So what will happen going into this turn 4? Will Diddy be able to make a move? Is he close enough? No, he's not. He's going to have to wait until turns 10 and 11 between that straight to see if he can make a move for that win.
Normally you see drivers holding back, looking for that move into turn 1. We're not going to see that this lap, folks, because look at how little that DRS straight is, or close to the finish line. Panda, though, I thought for a second there he was going to send it like a stamp, and he didn't quite into turn 10. Does get a better exit, though, with the soft grip. Diddy, though, hanging in there. Danjo flashing, trying to recharge some of the ERS. But Panda going around the outside of turn 11 is going to get the double overtake and take the lead of the race. Danjo into P2, Diddy in 3, Little One trying to hang it around the outside. We could see a little bit of a late dive here, or maybe just a gamble on the exit. In fact, we're not even going to see that because he's getting such a better exit on those softs down at the second to last straight. Gets him moved on before the second to last, which is technically the last corner. But it's going to be King 5 Panda takes the win here in Bahrain, ahead of Little One, Danjo and Diddy. Harry Palmer with a respectable 5th, DC 6th, Jamie, Caelan Bartlett, Aizen, Tobes and Aghast Ally rounding off your top 11. Curly the last of the points paying positions. Cabolis, Wuban, AFL, Club PR and Baldy Bob should all finish races. Cabolis fires in the fastest lap just for good measure. Well on him. But what a finish to this race, Jack. And we're only halfway through the night.
Yeah, that's half of the entertainment. But wow, what a finish. What a move from Panda. Absolutely committed round the round the outside to the inside for turn 11 and 12. Just wow. What a move to clinch the win. And Little One as well, going round the outside of Danjo to clinch P2. Absolutely fantastic last lap battling.
Tremendous stuff. They went on the gamble. They tried for the softs when some of the other guys around them stayed out. They lost the track position to other guys further down the pack staying out. But when it came to push come to shove, they made the move stick. They got through the pack and up into top 2 spots. Harry Palmer saying he's out of breath. I hate to tell you, pal, you've got another one of them to do around a slightly more technical track, you could even see. It is going to be... Well, this sets us up for a brilliant race, and I think just for that move alone, King Fly Panda, you're going to get the honours of taking us around qualifying in Qatar. They are your race winner, though, ahead of little one Danjo Diddy. Funnily enough, the 4 at the top of the championship, the 4 at the top of this grid. Harry Palmer in P5, up from 13, a respectable drive. DC in 6th, from 6th, stays as and when he was, making the 2-stop work. It's Jamie, another great performance from Jamie, to be fair, making up good positions in the race like he did in Baku. Caelan Bartlett up 4 from P12 to P8 ahead of Aizen and Tobes, who had a race to forget, down from P2 to P number 10. Agast, Alloy and Cully round off your top 12 with Cabolas, Wiban, AFL, Klapper and Baldy Bob your finishers. The host, the admin, the man from the Netherlands, CRL Co-Paradox, your only DNF of this evening. And breathe. A little bit of downtime, eh?
Yeah. I don't know how long we've got until next race, but we've got a little bit of relaxation. At least got a little bit of a break.
Well, I'm gonna leave the viewers in your capable hands here, Jack, because I did the cardinal sin. We get disconnected from the YouTube channel on my console, so instead of having my usual pre-race checks, shall we say, I had to rush and try and get the stream ready. So, Jack, entertain the viewers for 5 minutes. I'll be back shortly. I'll leave you in good hands.
Oh, okay. I don't know really what to say, but what a fantastic race. From everyone, it was quite clean. Unlucky to Cole Paradox crashing out. But both crashes caused at that turn, I think it was turn 8 hairpin and the exit, where I think you get on that curb a bit too much, and it's just, you're either lucky to not get it in the wall, or you're either crashing into the wall. Unfortunately for Cole Paradox, that happened to him, and same with Toby, but Toby, fortunately I should say, did not retire, much like Cole Paradox. So, both safety cars caused by that same place. But yeah, great racing overall, great racing from everyone. As I think Scott's back. Maybe?
I am. How did you know that? My mic was on mute, or did you hear anything? Does the mute button not work on my mic?
There was a little noise.
I was like picking up the mic. It's a good job I wasn't singing, put it that way, folks. That would have gave you an earful. Hey, quite literally. But I think we're just waiting to see. I think I don't know if there's a connection issue with Baldy Bob, apparently. I think he's just on a 1 bar. I think we're alright, to be fair. It should be alright, because there's a number of crossplay players in here tonight. Caelan Bartlett, of course, one of them. Danjo and Diddy on the Xbox, as well as a Gast Alloy. So him being on the PC shouldn't be an issue. But I just realised as well, Qatar, 20 laps once again.
Yeah. Don't know if it was on purpose or not, but 2 20-lap races. Also, I was just saying, when you were gone, both safety cars were caused at the same corner and the same place. At the exit of turn, I can't remember if it was turn 8 or turn 7.
Turn number 8 it was, the wee hairpin.
Yeah. At the exit of there, Cole Paradox crashing and DNFing, where Toby managed to only get front wing damage but still caused the safety car.
I'm just checking, everybody can see on stream, reduced standard damage. But yeah, it is a tricky corner, to be fair, at times, because you're so desperate after potentially maybe defending or going for a move, or even just trying to set a fast lap, that you try and slam that throttle down, and sometimes, just sometimes, you can slam down the throttle a little too quick, and everything just disconnects. And it happened a few times in that race. So we did see, I think Clipper had a little bit of a half spin there at one point, we just about caught. And I think we're pretty much ready to go here, by the way. We're just waiting on Rob, aka Baldy Bob, getting back in. I'm not too sure. He seems to be having a little bit of trouble with the game on PC himself. I don't know if maybe just a connection issue or maybe a hardware issue. Have you checked the specifications, Robert? Let's go through it. What do you need to run F1? We'll tally it up against you. He's maybe trying to run it on like a laptop or something. Who knows? Nah, he wouldn't do that, would he? You can tell I'm waffling to fill time.
Also, about Among Us, I wouldn't mind joining. I don't really like the game, but I wouldn't mind joining. I'm
sure we get a lot. If there's anybody listening that wants to join us, you're more than welcome. We had a nice little session the last night. It's all in good fun and all good banter. It's just been nice for me to get imposter for a change because we played about 12 games last night and I never got it once. But, you know, we'll wait and see.
I'm quite bad with imposter and crewmate. I'm not very smart. Neither am I anything else. So it doesn't really make a difference.
It's all fun. It's all good fun.
It's all for fun, so
it's you know, it's a bit like the F1. It can really make you look stupid at times when you get the strategy call or the imposter call wrong. Danjo and Diddy, they voted out a crewmate there, sticking out on the hards. Still though, P3 and P4 very, very solid, and I don't want to call it early, but 4-way championship battle. Oof. Sign me up to that every single night of the week. I'm looking forward to see what Panda, Little One, Danjo, and Diddy. This is quite good, by the way, because we get to see the actual finishing order going by the standings here. It's quite good to refresh your memory. Kalen down there in P8. Having a better start than he did last season, of course. Last season took a few rounds to score some points. Did KXI, but onto a better one. Tobes, maybe having one to forget, but the rivalry of him and Clark are still going strong. I think he'll be quite happy at least finishing ahead of that rivalry, of course, born from the Red Lantern a number of seasons ago. The Red Lantern, of course, a Dutch tradition given to somebody who comes last. It's a bit like the wooden spoon, but a bit more European. So I don't know if it's still a thing, don't know if it's still going, but I'm sure we'll hear about it at some point this season. A big shout out. It's Jamie, new guy to the grid. I'm assuming it's a guy. You could have a girl called Jamie. Who knows? I shouldn't assume these days, let's be real. But P7, once again, a solid performance. Same with Baku. Can nail down the qualifying because definitely got the potential to make up places in the race. Nail down that qualifying, get a little bit up the grid. Could be a potential podium challenger, maybe even a race win challenger. We'll see how it all progresses. I think we are just having some hashtag technical difficulties. We'll see how it goes.
But about Jamie saying he is a guy. Welcome to the chat and well done in P7. But yeah, Harry proved in that race that you don't really need to qualify high to get a top 5 because he qualified in 13th and got 5th, although he is a decent driver. I'm surprised he's not actually in Tier 1. I think like sometimes his racecraft, he could be considered Tier 1 like racecraft. So I'm quite surprised.
So I'll let you into some insights here. Harry was pretty close to going to Tier 1. But we ultimately made the decision that he's been doing a lot of ACC racing, and he does that mostly on a first day. So he's not really been playing much of the game, and as such, he's a little bit washed. Not maybe quite as good as he could be at the moment. He's not firing on full cylinders. So I think we've seen that his qualifying pace has struggled a little bit. He's still got the race pace, and you don't lose that driving ability to be able to race with other cars. You still keep that, but maybe the raw pace is just lacking a little bit. We'll see how he goes as the season continues on. It was very close, I must admit, probably between myself, himself, Diddy and Danjo, to be fair, the way they've been showing. Of course, me, Hobbsy, 4-star up in Tier 1. Although I think I've cemented myself in Tier 1 after that performance last first day. Jack, what do you say about that one?
Yeah,
P5,
good
let's
result.
go!
Yeah, good result from both you and Josh as well. But speaking about ACC, actually, me, obviously, Josh, I don't know if he's still in chat, but Josh, Scott, and me, myself, Glowstick, we're racing.
Me, Josh, myself, Glowstick.
I was meaning, you know what I mean.
So,
Also Harry
Glowstick,
as well.
Freefall, Bosch Evans, Smalley Balls, and Phoenix. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yes, in a 24-hour event this weekend. Harry's also racing in that same event, but in a different team. And we all hope it goes well. Though, if you're watching, Harry, I will try and intentionally take you out.
No, you won't. You
Jokes
will be
aside.
protecting our car. Like the good
Yes, I
little
will.
boy you are.
Yes.
That was a bit weird. But yeah, a different side to racing, of course. I'm sure there'll be some links in the servers for anybody that wants to check in with either Harry's team or the real team. We're starting P2 on a 35 car grid. So, potential until I get in the car, then it's all downhill. But at least I won't crash it. Touch wood.
Yes. But yeah, thanks to Jake's brilliant qualifying performance. Obviously, he was champion last year in Tier 2. So some people have seen his pace, and he is rapid. Getting us P2 in that qualifying event, so well done to him. But yeah.
I think then, on that note, we're all in. I think Rob has managed to reconnect. Harry has finished his Easter egg. Of course, happy Easter to everybody from Cone Racing League. It is, of course, Easter Monday. And a moment of silence for... it's quite a cruel twist of fate, the Pope passing on this sacred holiday. Yeah. The irony is not lost on me as a little Irish descended boy, in a sense. But anyway, that's enough about talking about an old man dying. And I hope I haven't offended anybody with that, because we're ready for the Qatar Grand Prix. And Jack, it is going to be a one-shot qualifying once again. And I think it's only fair. King 5 Panda won the Bahrain Grand Prix. Let's see what he can do here in Qatar. And do you want to take us around the qualifying lap?
Yes, I can do. Speaking about weather, it should be dry, but I have had a wet race around Qatar before, so it's low, but it's not impossible, as rain is always possible. But I'm going to get up a track map of Qatar, so I can go for the correct corners. There is no names. I don't.
The order. Nah, there's not really any names here at the LaSalle International Circuit.
I never knew. I only knew it as the MotoGP track.
Fair enough. 16 corners, then 3.367 miles or 5.419 kilometres. One shot qualifying. King 5 Panda, it's over to you and Jack Glowstick for the session.
Yes, over to me. I'm trying to find them at the moment, as we are coming down the straight now. Going into turn 1, it is quite a quick track this. He's going to reach about 200 going in to the first corner, down to 5th gear. And then through turn 2, this long left-hander into turn 3. Now down here through the quick double right of turn 4 and turn 5. At the moment, it's a 30.6, sector 1. He's down in 10th, 9th now. That was through turn 6. And now turn 7, this long-ish right-hander. And now through turn 8, this left-hander. And now turn 9. And then you want to get wide here. He doesn't do that, surprisingly. And now turn 10. This little left kink is turn 11. Now through the triple right of turns 12, turns 13, and this final right of 14. He's up in third at the moment through turn 15. This left-hander takes it flat. And now the final corner, turn 16. Riding the inside curb, out to the exit. What's it going to be for Panda? It's going to be third.
20-1 for the race winner. But Harry Palmer taking pole position ahead of Diddy, ahead of King 5 Panda. And I believe Jamie up into P4. Don't make me eat my words, my friend. I'm looking for a good result here. I said a good quali session. You've got the race pace to really make it stick. Let's see what you can do. But half a tenth between the top two. Parry and Diddy both back up there again. Panda in P3, of course, never far from the mix. Jamie in 4. Clipper with a very, very solid P5 ahead of Danjo. Eason in 7th ahead of Little One down in 8th. Cold Paradox and DC make it an all CRL row 5, 9th and 10th. Kaelin Bartlett ahead of Cabolas and all K row number 6. Wiban, Curly, Bob, Agast, Ally and Tobes and AFL round off the grid. Agast, Ally, Tobes and AFL all getting disqualified. Tobes, of course, P2 in qualifying in Bahrain, finds himself P2 from the back, 17th in human terms that would be. So we'll see how the race pans out. I was just, reading the comments. The only thing stopping Harry from hitting us in the rear in the ACC race is his brakes. We'll see how that goes, and you just concentrate on this race, young man. Starting P2 tonight, or P1, on pole tonight ahead of Diddy. And a slightly different race this, Jack, of course. I like to describe Qatar as more of a TT and quali track. There is a nice flow to it, but it can be a little bit tricky to go side by side and keep that flow.
Yes, and it is also quite easy to get penalties and warnings on this track. But here you were before the race starting saying, is Harry's quality pace is lacking. Maybe he heard that and said, do you know what, Scott, I'm going to put this on pole. And he did. So well done to Harry. Getting pole around Qatar, around a very trick but easy to invalidate, like we saw from, I think it was Toby AFL and Alloy in quali. It's very easy to get penalties and warnings.
Safety cars, of course, a possibility any track. It's a little bit unlikely, you could see here, just with the distance to the wall, as I believe that is Kaelin Bartlett up to semantics and just screaming away on the formation lap up into P3. Tyres then, only one car choosing to start on the hards. Once again, it's Wiban on the hards. Tobes and Agast Ally, 17th, 16th on the softs, as is DC Cold Paradox, 10th and 9th respectively. And the rest of your 13 cars all opting for the yellow medium compound. So not quite the same disparity in tyres choice as we've seen in Bahrain, but still a few outliers there in the softs and the one hard runner. Possible race strategies there brought to you by AWS. I sound like Crofty in the making there. A one stop from soft to medium, or a one stop from medium to hards. I mean, the medium to soft is also a possibility. And of course, Wiban, hard to soft could be the shout. We'll see how it all plays out, I suppose. But there's a perfect example of what I was just kind of hinting at there, Jack. Safety cars are a possibility, but look how much space there is through that middle sector. If you hit a wall there, something's went wrong. And speaking of hitting, Claire PR and Kaelin Bartlett having a coming together. Now that, I'm not going to incite anybody to report anything, but that could end up in the steward's office, because that would assume that one of those cars was well out of position and doing something they shouldn't. And, we did see the Mercedes launch itself off the line.
Defend Claire PR. I think he did have a little bit of a spin through, I think it was turn 6. I think he had a little bit of a spin out the chicane, and that's maybe what has caused it, kind of, but I am not 100% sure. I wasn't really watching it. I just saw an Alpine spun. Answers
in a postcard, I suppose. We'll find out maybe later on, maybe after the race, or maybe not at all. What does matter though is we're about to find out what kind of launch Harry, Diddy, King 5 Panda and Co can get on this rundown to turn 1 as they line up in those grid boxes one by one, as Panda and Jamie both getting disqualified. They're going to start right at the back, and that could give Harry and Diddy a little bit of breathing room here and it could invite pressure from Cloppier, who might, of course, be in slightly colder tyres with that DSQ on the lap. Danjo could try and make a move on those three, having some issues in front. We'll find out in 2 seconds here, as it is going to be 5 red lights in Qatar. Lights out, and away they go. Harry getting a decent start defending. It looks as if Aizen's got a nice little run, the Aston Martin on the right hand side of your screen. Little one making up a move as they come through turn 1. Will slowly flick down through the grid, and I think turn 1 is a success. No DNFs, no spins, no contact. Just a hell of a lot of back and forth battling. Aizen then trying to go around about Danjo. I said he was maybe going to make a move on the free in front. He's lost a few positions off the start, sticking it up the inside of Aizen through turns number 4 and 5 as Ferrari going very wide in the background. But Harry Palmer making a mad dash on the start, and thanks to some battling as well here, Jack, he's made quite the gap for himself out front already.
Yeah, battling will do that. Like you were saying, difficult to go side by side. You can lose a lot of time. As we've seen, Harry has gotten a brilliant start already, 1.8 almost now, ahead of Kinsai Panda in second. I think he overtook Diddy? Yes, he did. So Panda making that move on Diddy for P2. But apart from that, yep, all clean as Little One. The biggest gainers actually are Tobes, Agastoyle, who've both made 4 positions off the start, and Little One making 2 up.
Apart from that, not much changes. The 2 RBs though swapping from 3rd to 4th and 4th to 3rd. The 2 Mercedes doing something very similar down in 10th and 11th. It's very 2 by 2. Noah's Ark would be proud. 2 RBs in 3 and 4, 2 Alpines in 5 and 6, 2 Mercedes in 10, 11, and 2 Ferraris 14, 15, 2 Haas's in fact as well, 17 and 18. So it is equal cars, we do promise that. It isn't. As Cloppier a little bit late on the brakes into turn number 6, I believe that is, and makes contact with the rear of Diddy's RB, and the front wing sustaining some damage. Here has a little bit of a connection there with his teammate of Little One, gets forced off into the gravel. There's absolute pandemonium going on, and Cloppier, the biggest loser of the lot, losing it after being forced off track, you could say, with his teammate. His teammate dropped down to P9, and now under pressure from Caelan Bartlett, that 9 becomes 10, and Fabio Briatore, is that what you call him? He's absolutely raging with the Alpines after what we've just seen, a coming together from the 2 of them, one of them being forced off track, losing it on the rejoin, and the other getting caught up in the mess afterwards. The front 2 though, Harry Palmer, King 5 Panda, 1.7 and then 1.3 the gaps. Diddy then having to just hang on to the back of his teammate as Danjo and Aizen battle it out for P5. Aizen hanging around the outside of turn 1, makes it stick, covers off the racing line, and it's going to be a case of just you follow me the now, son. Go Paradox and DC though on the softs. What kind of mixing can they do in this battle? Well, DC is really mixing it to the rear of Copa's gearbox, of course. So falling so close, the dirty air is going to be pretty detrimental. I heard a little noise in the background. I don't know if Jack has had to disappear for a second.
No, I'm back. Hello.
All right. I don't know how much you caught of that there, but there's been some absolute scenes happened in the last lap.
I managed to catch the contact between Little One and Cloppier there. I don't really know what to think of that. I think, I don't know. I think it's going to be left to the stewards to decide, as Toby gets a free second, and so does Agastoyle. Penalties, and Harry Palmer's leading by 2.2 seconds now.
Can you tell he's been practicing a lot of Qatar by the looks of it? Definitely put his eggs in this basket, or maybe just finding some natural pace. Danjo gets ahead of Aizen, Diddy gets ahead of Jamie, but 3 laps in, 3 warnings for Tobes, 3 warnings for Agastoyle, And I've seen a few things here and there, cars going a little bit wide, maybe a little bit fast through the corner, so I don't think they will be the only warnings on the grid so far. Clipper and, not Clipper, sorry, Cool Paradox and Real DC need to get a move on though. 1 second is the gap to Aizen, and that's not too bad, but when it is, when you consider they're on the fresh softs versus fresh mediums, they too should have a bit of pace, but not quite able to bridge that gap consistently. Of course, only one DRS zone around this track, and it is on the rundown from the last corner to the first corner, so that is going to be the prime overtaking opportunity. But Harry Palmer, 2.4 clear. AFL with another pen joining the two already with that. And interestingly enough, I don't know if it's been a little mistake from Panda, or just a bit of pace and a bit of settling into the rhythm from the guys behind. But Panda was 1.3, 1.4 ahead, is now only 6/10, so could be under risk to DRS here, and this could play tremendously into Harry's hands if the two behind start battling once again. Did he though? That really answers my question there. Fastest lap from him at 24.55. Has a little look down the inside, thinks, nah, not this lap. And we might see a bit of a procession here for that front view, try and say that 5 times fast, as they settle into the single line to try and not lose time. Still though, Jack, plenty of action up and down the field. Plenty of very, very tight gaps to keep an eye on, and we'll try our best to give everybody a bit of coverage.
Yeah, like in the Bahrain race, it was Kavalis, unfortunately, with a 3-second time penalty. But like in the Bahrain race, it's just they're just settling into their own little battles, their own little trains at the moment. P6 to P2 in the train, and P7 to P12, that is, in a train. Well, P12, P11. Kavalis is hanging in there, but he's still within DRS range, just. Yeah, it's just they're just settling into their own trains, and then got Harry in his own little world, really. In P1, almost 3 seconds ahead now. Really improve it. I wouldn't say improving, but it's like really rapid around here. Diddy is making a move on Panda and takes P2.
Cool Paradox in the pits from the softs. I wonder if there's been some damage. We'll maybe find out about that later on, or whether this is just a bold strategy call. Jamie, King 5 Panda and Danjo getting very tight through turn 1. Thanks for just cutting us off that camera there with a grandstand. That was a brilliant view instead of the 3 cars going side by side. Brilliant EA, thanks very much. But Panda coming out ahead of Jamie. A little bit of contact there, wheel to wheel. I think Panda maybe not just appreciating how far Jamie was still alongside, and a slight bit of touch, but nothing really bad to report. Harry though in the scariest of positions of all. The only person that can stop him winning this race at this moment is himself. And I'm not going to comment any more on that, but we all know what we're thinking. Penalties could be a huge thing. Spins, we've seen a few little spins here and there already, although the biggest one coming from contact. He just needs to ride this out now. It's all about race management. 6 laps into the 20, about to start number 7. Pretty soon, almost a third of the way. Of course though, what we can't discount here, Jack, is the strategy calls. If Harry gets that a lap or 2 wrong, the offset could actually be key, and that's partly what I'm saying when I say the only person that can ruin it is himself. Danjo though, having a look on Jamie, getting a better run out of the final turn, and looks to get the move. AFL has retired, that is on track, that is a safety car. Wowee, I don't think I've ever seen a proper safety car around this circuit before, I'll be honest.
Neither have I. By the way, oh, that's not good for Alloy, getting a 10-second time penalty there. By the way, reason Cole Paradox did pit early, he did have damage. He got his front wing repaired, but that has not helped him at all. Cole Paradox, unfortunately, making his pit, and he's going to be last, possibly, unless I think Clerp has gotten his wing changed, so he might not be last actually. No, he's going to rejoin ahead of Curly, his teammate. But yeah, Cole Paradox did have damage, so that's why he did pit that early. Just thought I'd let you know.
Maybe explains why he was struggling on the softs to even keep up with the with the medium runners ahead, and maybe DC was all over the back room. That safety car, and of course the wing damage, it's effectively cost him 3 positions because he was just in front of DC before he made his stop. But again, sometimes you're better losing some positions and just getting the fresh wing on. And yeah, it's unfortunate for him, but he'll reset, he'll go again. Mick is a strong and very experienced driver, so we'll see if he can pull that Kick Sauber up through the field. Harry Palmer then has got a choice to make. What tyre is it going to be? I'd be very surprised if we see anything other than the hard tyres for the top 9 anyway. Wuban in P10 has got a decision to make. Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. You could just about stretch the mediums. Aizen getting a 10-second penalty for severe collision with Jamie. Was that just hard on the brakes coming into the pits?
Possibly. I thought Wuban was going to do the gamble and stay out, but he's actually came in. Getting held up a little bit by his teammate Cavalis there, unfortunately, but that'll be a quick stop. Because game likes to give you basically a pity quick stop. But at the moment, Little One and DC have made, I don't remember where they started actually. Have they gained positions? They have. Well, Little One definitely has. Since
they definitely had. DC was, well, Jamie has been the biggest loser essentially here, getting held up with the double stack. Has lost out to DC and Little One. Aizen has also lost out in that aspect as well. So they've effectively made their pit stop and gained 2 positions purely due to double stacks for the Aston Martins and the RBs, Racing Bulls. So it has been it has been it for them. Rob, I'm not debating whether there's been a safety car in Qatar. I'm just saying I haven't found one.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't think I've seen one in this game. I've seen rain, but I've not seen a safety car. So this is a rare occurrence.
It's a first for us.
Yes. By the way, new biggest gainer being Toby. Obviously, he got his lap time just qualified in quali, so he started P17. He's now up to P10, so up 7 positions. DC up 5 from P10, and the next biggest is Kalen from P11 to P8. Biggest losers in positions: Claire PR from P5 to P12 after contact with his teammate, down 12 positions. Cole Paradox from P9 to P13, and it's Jamie from P4 to P7.
I like it to clarify biggest losers in positions, just so you weren't calling somebody a loser.
Yeah, I don't want to accidentally
offend anybody.
Cause some drama.
But that should pretty much be us, barring another safety car lane, or of course they need to pit for damage. That should be us pretty much a run to the finish now. We've seen Harry. He got a great start, maybe assisted by some battling behind. Pull out about a 3-second gap. Can he do it again in the hards now? Or is this a chance where maybe Diddy and Panda, go, you know what? I'll take you later on in the race. Let's not fight. Let's not let Harry get too far away. Or are they just going to get the guns out and go, let's play? We're here to race. Let's go motor racing, as a certain race director once said. But wait and see with that. Jamie then got to make a little bit of a recovery thanks to the double stack, as did Aizen. Aizen was running a pretty solid race, it must be said. Of course, does currently have a penalty in the form of a 10 seconds. So, yeah, probably needing another safety car really to bring him back. I'm surprised he maybe hasn't just done a gamble, pit for another set of tyres, get rid of that 10 seconds and try and cut through the field. Tobes and Cabolas in P10, P11, as along with Agast Alloy in P16, all with 3-second penalties for track limits. But I'm sure they won't be the last. There's bound to be a few with a couple of penalties creeping or a couple of track limits creeping in. And when your elbow's out, when your you're really going for it. Anything can happen. Why is Klappier and Agast allied? They were swapping positions there for a second. Whether Agast just went off track or fell too behind and Klappier made a move, I'm not. Answers on a postcard. Safety car in this lap anyway, Jack. So back to green flag racing for lap 10 of 20.
Yes. I do wonder when Harry decides to go. Obviously, he's got to wait for that safety car to get into the pit lane before he can go. But he was weaving, getting them tyres warmed up. Does he go? When does he go? He goes now. Good reaction times from Diddy, saying not lose too much time. It's Toby's already making positions. And Cole Paradox is back into the pits. Not sure why, but Cole Paradox is in the pits, and there is moves further down and further up as well, with Kalen and Jamie having a battle there. I think Jamie defending his place even from Kalen.
Yeah, Kalen trying to make a move around turn 1. Jamie defending pretty good and not losing much time to little one in front as Aizen getting the elbows out, and you could see the checkman checking Toby down into that turn there. You can have that one for free, folks. Tobes though trying to stick around the outside though, in through this middle sector. That'll turn to the inside, which will turn to the outside, which will turn to the inside, but it doesn't matter. He's got that Red Bull in front of the Aston, and the midfield squabbles certainly starting to heat up. Likes of Tobes, likes of Aizen, likes of Cavolis will really be wanting to push on as much as they can with these pens and just hope and pray that they stop the creep in for the rest of the field. Jamie close to little one, and speaking of Jamie, speaking of penalties creeping into the field, 3 seconds for it's Jamie. Currently finds himself in P7. Cavolis, I believe it's that second one for the Lithuanian, I believe, driver. But crucially here though, Jack, DRS now enabled. Of course won't be used until the run down to turn 1 next lap. DC, who's about to lose out to little one, had also lost out that second gap. Kalen then getting the move on Jamie, and Tobes just sitting there lurking, thinking I'll get a piece of this action here, side by side, the Red Bull and the Racing Bull. But Jamie getting a bit more traction on that tighter inside line. Now Kalen on a charge here is our Kalen Bartlett. Gets past Jamie, gets past his teammate DC. Next in sight, little one, and then a 1.3 second gap to the front. Yellow flags further down. Safety car deployed.
That is Wuban. I think he's hit the wall somewhere. Yep, he's hit the wall. He's got no damage. What I was going to say before the safety car came out, yes, that is Cavolis' second 3-second time penalty, so he's up to 6 seconds now. And DC, the reason he lost out to that gap between himself and Danjo was because he had a little bit of in-plate damage, which he lost at turn, I think it was turn 6. So he had a little bit of less downforce. That's also why he lost positions to Little One and his teammate Kalen Bartlett.
Yeah, missing the front left end plate on that Mercedes. Now here is the question. 8 laps to go after this one, or technically 9 I suppose. Is it worth a change of tyres? Most of the front runners thinking not. DC obviously is going to come in, fix that front wing. I'm really surprised at Aizen.
Whoa!
Was that
Jesus.
a pit lane incident almost?
Yes, Wuban flying into the pit lane, into the back of Curly.
Oh.
Luckily, Wuban didn't lose a tyre. He already had lost his front wing, so luckily he didn't lose a tyre there, but wow. Really hard hit there. But no penalties. So luckily...
yeah, I
lucky.
suppose no contact penalties, no speeding in the pit lane penalties, and that's what I was just... Aizen obviously got a 10-second for speeding into the pits the last time. I mean, whether he's thinking I can get this removed, which I'll be honest, I've not seen. I don't think I can recall, or there maybe has been one time at the very most where a speeding pit lane penalty has been removed. But it generally has been the steward's standpoint that a speeding in the pits penalty is given by the game because you sped in the pits, and there's nothing we're really going to look at doing. So I'm surprised Aizen didn't jump in the pits just to serve that, get rid of it, put in some fresh rubber, and he would have came out in 14th, 15th. He probably would have came, yeah, around about there. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll find out after the race, I suppose. Maybe he is thinking that there's a possibility that it can get removed. So, the front runners all the way down to P12 on 4 or 5 lap old tyres. Little one on the 5 lap old hards. Tobe's in a decent position, of course, got the 3-second penalty, but the highest of the medium runners, and they will definitely be able to stretch the end with this second safety car. Klapper on the recovery drive, P11, but again, the second of the medium runners, if he can get them into a working window, take advantage of them while they're quicker than the hards, could have a little charge through the field. Curly, DC, Baldy Bob, Wuban, and to a degree Klapper, Co-Paradox, sorry, I keep getting them mixed up, are potentially in with a shout, just with the very fresh tyres, as Agastar, Lily and Curly. They had a little come together under the safety car in Bahrain. There was something going on there for a split second, and I was kind of half counting Co-Paradox. I'm fully counting Co-Paradox now. Fresh softs for the Dutchman. Definitely going to be able to go to the end. Definitely going to be racy. Just how long can they be very racy? And 16 positions to make up to get the win. It's a hard task, but you can never discount a flying Dutchman and fresh tyres, eh, Jack?
Yeah, definitely cannot. Just like to point out that is, I think, his third stop of the race, Co-Paradox. Not using the hard tyre once during this race. He's only been on softs and mediums. Started on softs, went to mediums again, and is now back on the softs. But yeah, you can never count out anyone really in this league. It is quite close in tier 2, and obviously if you've got fresh tyres, you're at a bigger advantage compared to people on older tyres. But yeah, never count out anyone in this league. Anyone can win.
Absolutely, it really is. Any of the 17 cars still going on tracks, chance to take some glory tonight. Some of them in better position than others, of course. Penalties partly to play, track position partly to play, and tyre life also partly to play. We'll keep an eye on the rear part of the grid. They'll need to not work together, but try not trip over each other if they're going to make good inroads up through the field. But with 5 cars in front of them already facing some post-race penalties from the in-game stewards, it could be a tantalising prospect for a good finish. Harry then, second time tonight, third time I believe, even if you count the race start, is going to get us underway racing, and it will be the start of lap 14. 7 laps of racing left on the clock, and Harry going just on the entry into the final turn. Hasn't really caught anybody sleeping once again. Jamie has got a great start. He's only a 10th off the rear of Caelan Bartlett going down to turn 1. We'll keep an eye on that in the background, but Harry gets away clean, holds the lead ahead of Diddy, ahead of Panda, Danjo, Little One, Caelan, Jamie, Tobes, Aizen, Cabolis, Klapper, August Alloy, Curly, DC, Baldy Bob, Wuban and Cole Paradox, and nobody making a move on that first run, despite maybe some getting a slightly better run. Maybe going to settle in, wait for that DRS to come online, and not lose anything too early, too silly. We'll see how it plays out, as Harry getting a little bit twitchy there under acceleration. Cole Paradox making up 2 positions on Wuban and Baldy Bob up into P15, but he needs to clear DC and Curly, or work with them to really make inroads, as DC makes a move on Curly. It's almost as if I'm predicting the future here, Jack. Say it and it will happen. Cole Paradox getting past his teammate around the outside, and is going to get it well clear before the triple right-hander. Let's keep an eye on them throughout this race. But the front runners keeping together. Harry not quite pulling the gap this time, Jack.
No, I think that is mainly because there's less battles, as Baldy Bob gets a penalty, and also Cole Paradox has just passed DC and Agas LA before starting lap 16. So Cole Paradox using them softs as Diddy takes the lead.
I can't believe that.
Does he?
I just switched off him to have a look at Jamie, and Kaelan didn't even notice that Diddy was going for the move. Gets the move half done into turn 1, loses it on turn 2 just with the change of the track, and now may have to look behind because Panda was having a look at him, Danjo was having a look at Panda, and Little One's having a look on... It's a bit like Bahrain, deja vu, except Harry is now in the mix. It's the same 4. Back up again, it's Little One and Danjo have a slight tap together into turn 6. Jamie lurking in the background, as is Kaelan. And Tobes hanging on to the rear of Kaelan like there's no tomorrow. This is... I'll tell you what, no matter what the result tonight, between Bahrain and what we've seen of this Grand Prix, this has been some tremendous racing from all the drivers. And we've got 6 laps, I believe, or 5 laps, sorry, after this one left. Harry in the lead of this front pack. Aizen and Tobes and Kaelan all together. Baldy Bob fighting out with August Alloy down at the back. But let's not discount Cole Paradox. Remember, Jack, looking at that, they're pretty much all still in the DRS train here.
Yes, Cole Paradox thinking about a move going into turn 16, the final corner, but decides to back off, get that DRS, as Diddy, I think now, has completed that move for P1. Yes, he has. Well done to Diddy. But does Copa go for a move down the inside of PR? He thinks about it. He's going for it. Has he got it done? Yes, he has. He's got a better traction compared to Clerk and makes the move down the inside of turn 1. Well done. And Kaelan, Tobes side by side. Does Kaelan go for a move? Does Tobes go for a move? Tobes gets pushed out a wee bit. Here comes Aizen thinking about a move. And Cole Paradox as well behind him, overtaking Cavolis for that P10 as there's damage there. I think that was for Toby. Yes it is, left front end plate.
Slight bit of damage for the Red Bull. That's caused a bit of drama. I don't know what happened with Aizen there ghosting, but Cole Paradox getting held up, getting damage, and the Dutchman was on a charge until that coming together. I don't know if it was due to the damage, Aizen maybe getting tangled up with Tobes, and then Cole Paradox ultimately just running into the back. And that's the tricky part of this track. If there's anything in front, it's hard to find a secondary line. Danjo, though, close to the rear of Little One. DRS train, though, it's tricky. Clapier adding to his troubles after the incident with his teammate, gets a 3-second time penalty for track limit warnings. But Danjo, despite being in the middle of the DRS train, is having a lick at Little One's P4. Diddy loses out the lead to Harry Palmer. We're kind of expecting the lead to swap there with DRS, but Danjo make the move on Little One up to P4. Jamie hanging in there. And do you know what? If this train continues, despite the 3-second penalty, Jamie could be on for a result of P6. And let's not discount anybody else getting a penalty. Aizen gets a move on Tobes through the first part of the lap. And we do kind of expect that to happen with the front wing damage. I don't think there's anything on the front of Aizen. That wing looks pretty complete. And Cavolis, poor Tobes. This is a track like this, particularly with all the sweeping corners. As soon as you lose a bit of that downforce, you are really going to hit Struggle Town, and we are seeing that exactly from the Red Bull. He's dropping like a stone into a huddle. Interestingly though, Cole Paradox still hanging in there. Half a second off Kaelan Bartland. Going to get the DRS. Could still be on for a decent race. Wiban though, not on for a great race because 3 seconds is going to be added to his time. And doesn't matter how well you're doing, that is never a good sign. Jump back to the front though, Jack. Is Danjo going to have a run as more 3 seconds come into things? But we're about to start the third last lap here. And the battle for the top 6. It's looking rather tasty.
Yes, looking very entertaining going into these final laps. I think, unfortunately for Tobes, due to his older tyres, as Cole Paradox making a move on Kaelan, despite the damage, he's going to try and make a move. Can't make it stick, unfortunately, but due to, I think, Tobes' damage and older tyres, that's why he's kind of dropping. But since Cole Paradox kind of has the fresher rubber, he can kind of live with it better, since he has the fresher tyres. despite the damage. But saying that, Aizen, I thought he was going to go for a dive down the inside. It is possible. It has happened before, but thinks better of it. It stays P9. But Danjo, again, looking close to Kinfai Panda.
I say, Caelan Bartlett's made a mistake there. Sorry to jump in, Jack, and ghosts for a second, and allows Cold Paradox through. Crucially, though, it's Jamie, despite the 3 seconds, looking good for P6. 4.2 the gap to the group behind. Really managed to break free, although I think that could be another warning for him there through those sweeping left handers. Danjo, though, looking very feisty. Is he going to get the move and King Fi Panda into the final corner? He has a little dive down the inside. Panda leaves him the room, leaves him all the space. Does have the fall back behind, does Danjo, as they start the second to last lap. This is where the mind games and the positioning games start. Diddy gets the move on Harry. Danjo going to try and get the move on King Fi Panda. And does hang the Aston Martin out to dry for a split second. Comes back at him, does Panda through turn at number 2, but just traction not his friend there. These hards, they're not going to be dropping off the cliff, but they're definitely not going to have the same grip they had earlier on in the race. And dirty air isn't going to be helping any of these guys. I feel sorry for Jamie. He is showing some really good pace here, but he's just in that wrong part of the DRS train, right at the back where there's no real chance to make a move. Having to just hang in at 6 for the moment, as more free setting penalties flying in left, right and centre here, Jack. But I love this kind of race. This is the second one tonight. We're about to start this final lap, and I don't know who's going to win it. It could be any of our top 5 at the moment. Could be sitting top of that podium by the end of the next lap.
Yeah, and it's very entertaining for us to watch, and hopefully for the viewers as well. Entertaining as Caelan loses the position to Copa again. That's going to be a battle to the line. But here we go for Harry, Diddy, Danjo, King Fi Panda, Little One and Jamie starting the final lap. Can Harry make an attempt to go for a move into turn 1? No, he cannot, unless he goes for a dive here. He doesn't fit, he thinks better of it, and Diddy retains the lead for now, unless something happens.
I think ERS management was coming in key there. Diddy having just enough.
And that's Clerp in a wall. He was in 12th and now is in P17. That is unlucky for Clerp.
It's been a race mired with nothing but bad luck. If he didn't have bad luck tonight, he would have had no luck at all. A great performance in qualifying. P5 for Clerper, but not quite coming together in the race. Diddy and Harry, though, are trying to slink together this final sector and just see if they can find the pace on the other one of the two. Diddy in the prime position there. Tobes picks up another 3 second time penalty, but I don't think it'll have a huge impact on his finishing position, given penalties behind and just how much of a sort of damage limitation it's been the last few laps. But Diddy looks like he's going to have enough here. All of the cars on pretty much empty batteries. Diddy's going to get the drive out the final corner, up to the line, wins the Grand Prix. King Fi Panda steals the fastest lap and comes home in P4 behind Danjo and Harry Palmer. Little One in P5. It's Jamie will hold on to P6. Bartland, Caelan, Bartland, P7. Cold Paradox 8th, DC 9th, Curly in 10th ahead of Wuban and Cavolist. Agast, Alloy, Tobes, Aizen, Body Bob, and then it will be Clerper rounding off the session. Little One, please don't leave the session until the results have done. It can bugger it up, as we've seen last week, and it made DC get the standards wrong. When will they learn, Jack? When will they learn? But a very entertaining night of racing as Cold Paradox hits us with a lovely pose there for driver of the day. A driver of what could have been if it wasn't for that damage. But we're done for the duel in the desert here, Jack. I don't know about you, but I'm absolutely knackered after trying to commentate over all that action.
Yes, very knackering, but good racing from all. As should I run us down the grid?
You can do, my son. You can do.
So that's Diddy with the win then from Harry Palmer. A good entertaining battle from then to all race with Danjo in third, King Fi Panda in 4th, and Little One running the top 5, with Jamie retaining 6th despite the 3-second time penalty. Kalen in 7th, Cole Paradox despite damage P8, same with DC in 9th. Curly managed to sneak into the top 10. Wuban and Cavalis in 11th and 12th, with Alloy, Tobes, Aizen, Body Bob, Claire PR, and AFL are only DNF of the night.
Cracking race, following on from another cracking race in Bahrain. Driver of the day then. This is where it gets interesting, Jack, because we've had 2 races effectively to judge them on here. And do you know, I don't think I can give a single driver of the day. I think I'm going to have to give 4. And it's going to be Diddy, Danjo, King Fi Panda, and Little One. Because both races, those 4 were in the mix. Both races, they put on some cracking race and some cracking battles. So I don't think I can pick from any of them. Jamie having a solid drive. Just not quite getting the same positioning, I suppose you could say. You know, a little bit behind. And Harry pulling off some good moves in the first race and a good race in the second. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one for driver of the day. So I'm going to go with 4. I'm going to wimp out, I suppose you could say, Jack.
Now I know it's very difficult to do one, pick one even, but I think I'm gonna say Harry. I mean, his racecraft shown in the first race was really good. Tier 1 standard, really, with racecraft and strategy as well, from P13 to P5. And then in this Qatar race, he's got that pace in quali as well, taking pole. Despite only getting second, it's still a good run and a good race from him. So I will say Harry Palmer is my driver of the day, personally.
I can't really disagree much with that as well. Definitely solid night from several of the drivers here. Full race results, of course, will be out shortly later on in the weeks for all the drivers once stewarding has been complete. Thank you to all the drivers, though, because that is it's a little bit of a different format. I hope they enjoyed it. It's a little bit harder to practice for as well. 2 tracks to go for, and then a one-shot quali, a little bit more pressure, and then the quick action, more sprint-type races. So I hope they've enjoyed it. I hope you at home have enjoyed it, and Jack, I hope that you've enjoyed it. Next week, of course, I believe we go to the Hungaroring for just a bog standard race, entertaining nonetheless, and hopefully we'll see the battle continue as we've seen tonight. I think that's all that really needs to be said, Jack. We're kind of just with crossplay, interviews aren't really quite as possible. It's a shame that Discord parties don't share the audio through PlayStation, or we could maybe have some of our guys in, so we won't bother with that. We'll hopefully maybe get a chat with the champion at the end of the season. That would be nice to do whenever that is crowned. But in the meantime, anything you would like to add, Jack, before we round it off for the evening?
No, I think you've covered everything, but well done to everyone for putting on a show for us and everyone in the chat. Brilliant racing from All Clean. A little bit of contact, but that's expected in racing. It happens. Just don't take it too personally, as it is F124. Very not serious game, although some people do take it serious. Yeah, well done to all.
Pretty much hit the nail on the head. Yeah, a little bit of contact, but rubbing is racing. And if you want to see some racing that'll get you rubbing, make sure to join us back on Thursday evening. Jamie Morris, aka Indigo, I don't think he goes by that anymore, and hopefully Rob, aka Baldy Bald, will be taking you through for the very same races you've seen tonight, except it'll be the Tier 1 sweats. Those people that Jack was saying take the game very seriously. A little bit more pace, a little bit maybe more drama, and maybe some more fireworks. Who could know? If we get a little bit more drama than we did tonight, it's going to be a bloody good evening of watching. Thank you all for joining us tonight, though, and anybody watching back, whenever you are watching back. I hope you have a very good evening, morning, afternoon, or night. We'll see you next week, of course, next Monday, same time, same place, same people, myself and Glowstick F1, aka Jack. Thank you for joining me once again tonight, my friend. And it'll be the Hungaroring, the Hungarian Grand Prix next week. And I'm sure the battles will keep intensifying. Stay safe, look both ways before you cross the road.